Imagine this, a 40-year-old man, paralyzed from the waist down, rises from his wheelchair, steadies himself, and walks, because a wireless bridge is carrying commands from his brain straight to the nerves in his spine. Meanwhile, a woman locked inside silence for 18 years simply thinks her words, and a digital avatar on a monitor speaks them at nearly 80 words per minute, complete with her own smile and voice. Welcome to Brain-Computer Synergy 2.0, the moment when mind and machine start finishing each other's sentences, and movement, and senses. Our brains generate enough electrical chatter every second to fill a hard drive. For decades that chatter was unreachable. Now, tiny computers the size of a coin, threaded under the skull or slipped through a blood vessel, are listening in, decoding intent, and beaming it to the outside world. In the next 10 minutes, you'll discover how next-gen BCIs are built, from hair-thin electrodes to AI decoders, real patient stories restoring movement, speech, and senses, the industry surge, Neuralink, Synchron, Paradromics, precision neuroscience, and more, the tightrope of ethics and privacy. And finally, what this revolution means for you, whether you're a clinician, engineer, or just someone fascinated by the future of human ability. Stay till the end, because we'll look at jaw-dropping prototypes that hint at brand-new senses, capabilities no human has ever had. Until recently, the gold standard was the Utah array, a tiny bed of 64 pins plunged into cortex, kind of like a surgical porcupine. It was a great science tool, but honestly, pretty lousy for everyday living. But now, we're seeing the next wave. Neuralink's N1 implant is about the size of a coin, and get this, it has 1,024 channels. It uses flexible polymer threads, each one thinner than a human hair. The whole thing is fully wireless. A small puck behind the ear powers the device and streams data. Synchron's Stentrode is an electrode mesh, mounted right on a stent. It's delivered through the jugular vein, so no craniotomy and no stitches on the brain. The first US implant happened in 2022, and the patient was home in just 48 hours. Precision Neuroscience's Layer 7 strip is a paper-thin film with 1,000 electrodes. It slides under the skull, just above the brain, offering lower risk and high resolution. The FDA has cleared it for 30-day implantation in 2025. Paradromics promises optical data links and thousands more channels, aiming for the highest bandwidth yet. The trajectory is pretty clear. More channels, fewer wires, smaller scars, and longer battery life. But you know, hardware is only half the story. A single neuron fires like a mosquito's buzz. Multiply that by 1,000 and, well, you just get noise. Enter artificial intelligence, deep learning models that sift through the chaos and pull out meaning. Early BCIs used simple math filters. Today they run convolutional and recurrent neural nets, the same tech behind self-driving cars and ChatGPT. These models decode movement, like raise cursor left, grasp cup. They predict speech by mapping spiking patterns to phonemes then words. And they adapt on the fly. When brain signals drift, the model retrains in real time. Think of it as autocorrect for your cortex, constantly guessing your next intention and refining itself as you learn to drive it. So, here's story number 1, the digital bridge. In May of 2023, over in Lausanne, Switzerland, researchers implanted 2 devices, one on the motor cortex and one on the lumbar spinal cord. Basically, artificial intelligence listens up top and relays walk pulses down below. Just 30 milliseconds later, the legs move. Patient Gert Jan managed to walk with crutches, climb stairs, and even stand at a bar to toast the team. Now, months later, he's actually regained voluntary flickers even without the system powered on. The interface isn't just a bridge, it's like a rehab gym, rewiring those dormant nerves. Now, moving on to story number 2, mind-controlled prosthetics. At the University of Pittsburgh, a man with tetraplegia controls a robotic arm to fist bump visitors. And get this, he actually feels the squeeze back. Tiny pulses to his sensory cortex recreate pressure, texture, even warmth. In 2023, they personalized the stimuli. He tweaked the settings until fake fur felt fuzzy and metal felt cool. For the very first time, an artificial limb delivers rich, nuanced touch. And finally, story number 3. Digital mobility. Neuralink trial volunteers scroll TikTok, play online chess, and even design three-dimensional art using nothing but thought. Synchron users draft emails, shop for groceries, and yes, tweet entirely by brain. Digital independence is a form of mobility too, so what's next? Closed-loop systems where brain chips trigger muscle stimulators, letting paralyzed limbs move themselves again. Early prototypes are already flexing fingers on cue. So, remember Anne? She had been speechless since a brainstem stroke. UC San Francisco researchers actually planted electrodes over her speech cortex. After months of careful calibration, she was able to generate text output at 78 words per minute. Even more amazing, her avatar could speak in real time, lip-syncing and reconstructing her old vocal timbre, all thanks to artificial intelligence. And not just speech. Her avatar could smile, frown, and even lift its eyebrows, all driven directly by her neural code. Meanwhile, over at Stanford, participant T12 managed to hit 62 words per minute with 90% accuracy. Fast enough, honestly, for work meetings. The secret here is a two-stage decoder. It translates neural spikes into phonemes, then into words, all fine-tuned by a language model that guesses the rest. In a way, your brain supplies the rough sketch, and AI comes in to ink the lines. And then, there was a public demo moment where a Synchron patient posted the very first thought tweet, 5 words that rippled across the internet. No need for keystrokes anymore. Vision. Neuralink's blind sight is setting its sights on the visual cortex by aiming cameras directly there. In the early human trials, they're focusing on individuals who have been blinded due to optic nerve damage. The goal? To paint patterns of light that can evolve into usable shapes. There's already a precedent with the Orion cortical implant, which gives users flashes that they can steer into outlines of doorways and sidewalks. Each new generation adds more resolution. Imagine starting with a 1990s cell phone camera, and then someday soon, reaching the clarity of 4K. Let's talk about touch. We've already seen advances in detecting pressure and texture, but the next targets are even more exciting. Temperature, vibration, and even proprioception. That's the "where is my limb" sense. Imagine prosthetic hands paired with cortical feedback that could feel as natural as your own flesh. Now, moving on to new senses, why stop at just restoration? We could feed thermal maps, radiation levels, or GPS vectors straight into the brain's spare cortical real estate. The brain will learn, just like how pilots feel acceleration through seat vibrations or how blind people echolocate with clicks. Brain-computer interfaces might even gift us with a north sense or real-time blood sugar alerts that we feel before the numbers drop. So, Neuralink, Barrow, and the University of Miami have gotten IDE approval, with 3 patients and counting. Synchron and Mount Sinai are in the mix too, rolling out the first in-vein brain-computer interface, plus, heavy investments from Microsoft veterans Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. Precision Neuroscience, spun out from ex-Neuralink engineers, just got the FDA's green light for their strip. Paradromics, BlackRock Neurotech, Motif, Cognition, there are honestly over 45 active clinical trials happening worldwide. Hospitals are setting up dedicated BCI clinics, insurers are still debating coverage models, and governments are funneling grants. Heck, the NIH Brain Initiative alone has topped $3 billion. Analysts are forecasting a multi-billion-dollar neurotech market by the year 2030, and that's not even counting the potential for consumer enhancements. This means jobs in chip design, surgical robotics, occupational therapy, cybersecurity, data science, ethics, and law. Now, with electrodes in our gray matter, brand new questions are sparking up. Who actually owns the data pulsing from your neurons? Can insurers demand access to it? Could courts subpoena your thoughts? And what if someone hacks the firmware that gates your motor cortex? Chile has already amended its constitution to protect what they call mental privacy. The OECD, UNESCO, and IEEE are all drafting Neurorights frameworks. The FDA treats brain-computer interfaces as Class 3 devices, the highest risk with the strictest oversight. Some core principles are starting to emerge: informed consent, the right to opt out at any time, data encrypted end-to-end, and always a human in the loop. The field knows if you lose public trust, you lose the future. We're standing at a real hinge point in biomedical history. Just 20 years ago, a paralyzed person could only blink for yes and no. Today they can stroll a garden path, text a grandchild, or even feel the fuzz of a virtual kitten, just through sheer intent. If you code, design, heal, or legislate, the door is wide open. Data scientists help decoders learn faster and safer. Engineers shrink those batteries, harden cybersecurity. Clinicians craft rehab that fuses BCIs with physical therapy. Ethicists and lawmakers build policies that guard freedom of thought. And for the rest of us, stay curious, stay informed, support research, and fight for equitable access, because honestly, these miracles should belong to everyone. Mind and machine have started, well, a duet. Our job is to keep the rhythm humane, the melody inclusive, and the volume tuned to human potential. Believe in the brains, believe in the code, and let's write the next chapter.